Okay, we'll call the meeting to order for the county board. We'll get moving today. We have a long agenda. We'll start with the silent meditation and the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'd also like you to add in your thoughts today the veterans, because we will not be meeting again, and the Veterans Day is on, I believe, the 11th of next month. Just remember them for all that they did. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 3, public comment. Is there anyone in the back wishing to speak? Okay, seeing none, we will move forward. Item number 4, motion to deviate from the order of the agenda. Motion by Randy Young, seconded by Kimberly Leffel. Is there, well, there is no discussion on this one. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Number 5, chairman's report. I really didn't put together any chairman's report because we have the budget, and as you can see from the agenda, we have a very large number of resolutions due today to run through. So we will move forward from there. Reading of petitions, Kara?
We have none.
We have none? Okay. Item number 7 is we have to adjourn at 3:15 for the budget hearing. So we'll move on with the agenda, and then at 3:15 we will come back. We'll stop whatever we're in the middle of, we have to, and have our budget hearing at that time in the presentation of the budget. Item number 8, resolution number 33-22. Going too fast for Kara, I think.
Resolution number 3322 to support additional state funding for child support agencies, county child support agencies.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Bill Spatala, seconded by Dennis Knack. Jimmy? I believe this is just one of these standard ones that get circulated around the counties.
Yes, it's a standard that all counties are sending down. There's no cost to the county on this, but, you know, we used to have 8 child support workers in there. We're down to 4, and it's really a cost issue that the state has reduced the funding for that part of DHS. So we're just sending this down to Madison to say, hey, we need some help.
And I really don't think these ever go anywhere, but I guess they can't hurt. So is there any questions or discussion? Okay, seeing none, then if you are in favor of resolution 33-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. $25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent, so the resolution is passed. Item number 9, resolution number 34-22. Kara?
So this is actually an ordinance on the agenda. It says resolution. Ordinance number 3422 to repeal library ordinance number 4-85.
Okay. Motion approved, motion by Milt, seconded by Kimberly Leffel. Do you want to make a comment on it, Milt?
It's just one of those old resolutions that no longer in effect. We haven't used it for years at the library, and so we're just asking that it be repealed.
Okay. Any other questions? Any questions, comments? Okay. Seeing none, then if you are in favor of repealing that old ordinance, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent, so the resolution is passed. Item number 10, resolution number 35-22. Kara?
to correct official ordinance number for ordinance number 2722. New ordinance number will be 8-22.
Is there a motion to approve? This is basically just changing, the wrong number got placed on there. Motion by Devin Crejon, seconded by Grant Stazek. Is there any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, then if you are in favor of correcting the error, basically, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no with 1 absent, so we'll get the paperwork straight. Item number 11, resolution number 36-22. Kara?
Resolution number 3622 is to support Operation Green Light for veterans.
I will let Jimmy make a comment on that since he's a veteran.
So this came up that the intent is to honor the veterans and have the courthouse lit green at night in the honor of the sacrifice that the veterans have done. We'll be able to do that, at least a portion of the courthouse. We can't get the whole courthouse squared away, but we will get a portion of this, and I would hope that you would support this.
Okay. Is there any questions or comment? Yes, okay. Motion to approve. Motion by Mike Wiesner, seconded by Mart Grams. Now, are there any questions or comments? Jerry? Should be on. Hold on. Not working. Tap on your mic once, Jerry.
Speak louder. Oh, there. Or forever hold your peace. That's like
Okay.
getting married.
I guess I had to,
Anyway, yes, Green Lights, it's a program that most of us, at least over where I live, veterans all have green yard lights, and we run them 24/7 sometimes. It's just to show that, hey, a veteran lives here, or veterans meet here, whatever. It's a good program. I support it 100%.
okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, then if you are in favor of approving Operation Green Light, you would vote yes, and if not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no with 1 absent, so the resolution is passed. Item number 12, resolution number 37-22. Kara?
Resolution number 37-22 to approve airport improvements and to provide any needed petition to the Secretary of Transportation for aid relating thereto.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Sandy Stanky, seconded by Dick Olson. Questions or comments? Do you want to give us a little summary on it, Jimmy, do you know, or Dick?
Going to keep up with the times out there, and they're working hard at it. They're trying to make sure hangar doors are working properly, and they can get airplanes into the hangars and maintain the airport like the county and city would want them to.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Seeing none, then if you are in favor of resolution number 37-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. He's coming, Arlen. I think you only get to vote 3,000 times in your lifetime, Arlen. Okay, 25 yes, 0 no with 1 absent, so the resolution has passed. Item number 13, resolution number 38-22.
Ordinance number, it's called resolution number 3822 but it is an ordinance to repeal and recreate ordinance number 3-95 related to inmate fees for inmates incarcerated in the Shawano County Jail.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Mike Stepecki, seconded by Teresa Serrano. And we had a little boo-boo with this, so we've got it made up for Kathy to do a motion right away for what Lorenda wants it changed to correct it. Kathy, go ahead.
All right, I need to amend it to ordinance number 1222.
Is that good, Lorenda?
Yeah, again, I think the only issue was is that the county clerk put in there, a resolution number, so it's following the resolution number, it should be an ordinance, and again, following the ordinance.
Ordinance numbering. The hanging is gonna be outside when we get done with the county board meeting today too for the clerk, by the way.
Now, be nice.
Is there a second on the amendment? Seconded by Devin Crejon. Now, just on the amendment, is there any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, then if you are in favor of the amendment, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. "25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent. So the amendment is passed. Now, is there any questions or comments on the resolution as amended?
I just have a question, but I can't push my button. It won't allow me to.
Okay, tap your microphone, Sandy. Your
My
microphone's on.
microphone's on, but it won't allow me to ask a question.
It showed up here on
Okay,
mine.
it wasn't showing up here. Does this cover our cost to, I mean, a daily cost, does this kind of fit with what we have to pay out for it, or?
Could you do it into the mic, Sandy, so
Okay.
Kara's got it for,
The fee that we're charging, does that cover our cost for having to do these things, administrative and everything? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
okay. Joe Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Briefly, are there increases from what, is this,
I guess I can jump in. Yes, I think the major, sorry, apologies. I think the major thing here is that I believe we only previously had Huber implemented. We did implement an electronic monitoring charge. Troy can speak to that as well, in addition to allowing for those medical expenses to be recouped. But again, that was per statute as well.
Okay. You got a question, Arlen?
Yeah. I was going to say that, quite a few years ago, we tried this too. And then we found out that you can't do it. And is something changed in the law that you can start charging them? Because at that time, I can always remember when the courthouse had to go down to, I think, 68 degrees. Everybody had sweaters on in the courthouse, and we did it at the jail. And we found out 2 days later, the inspector was up here already, and you get that jail back up there into the 70s, so.
And I guess I can speak to statute-wise, yeah, these are charges that we're able to provide and charge out. Other counties are also implemented these same sort of charges like years ago. So again, these are charges that we are allowed to implement per statute as well.
So it is legal to do it?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Seeing none, then if you are in favor of resolution number 38-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent. So we can maybe get starting a little bit of our money back. Number 14, resolution number 39-20. What's that?
Public hearing.
Oh, okay, I was just informed it's 3:15. I got to shut up and let Jimmy have the floor and Carrie for the public hearing. We figured that would put everybody in a better mood for the budget.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. First, I need to give out some thank yous. The budget process is a very long process. We start in March with the budget, and I really would like to thank the directors. I'd like to thank all the committees because you sit through with your director and review budgets. I'd like to thank the executive committee. We really put them through some pain this year. We had, I think, at least 3 meetings that were at least 4 hours in length. And they worked through it. I think a couple of them were surprised at the level of detail that we had gotten into. I'd like to thank Grant, David, and James. They actually sat through a good portion of the executive committee meetings on the budget, and I think they were really surprised at some of the discussions that we had, going forward with the budget. Overall, I would tell you I'm very happy with the budget, and, we'll get into some things, but up front, some of the guidance that I give to the directors is you have upfront conversations with the committees. What does it take to run your department? Be honest about it, and, talk to them about it so they understand the dynamic that they're living in. And I really think that that has happened. And be open book about it. I think for those, and I won't speak for them, but for the new members of the executive committee, I think they've been very surprised and very happy of how open that Carrie and I are with what is going on, and we should be. And I think they've really learned a lot. And I think as well, the directors try to do that with all the committees. But, that's really important to us. And also to be realistic. We'd like to say just cut, but that doesn't necessarily get the job done for what the public expects. And so I've always asked the directors to be very realistic about what they're talking about. Have courses of action, being able to come up with different creative ideas on how to get solutions for some things. And I think we've done that with this budget. Couple things up front, some of the highlights. I've tried to, along the way, keep the board informed, and I hope I've done a good job with that, with what I've been sending out. But overall, we've had a minimum health insurance increase. I would tell you, nobody likes to switch insurance plans, nobody. But when WPS originally came back to us with a 24% rate increase, and then they thought they did us a favor by cutting it down to 18%, that really wasn't getting the job done. Subsequently, we went with another carrier, Robin. I've sent you a note on that and everything. So, again, we didn't want to switch carriers. It's a comparable plan. Overall, a very comparable plan. Prevea is out of that network, but when we looked at our employees, we only had roughly 36 employees that go to Prevea, and we couldn't do it for what the cost was of savings to the county. So that's why we switched. In this budget, there's a 6% wage increase. How did we get to 6%? When we started the budget process, the executive committee asked us to look at a 6% wage increase. And previously, I sent you some things of why we're at where we are now. In 14, 15, and 16, there was no raises given to the county employees. Now, there was reasons for that, and I wasn't here for that. But that put us behind kind of where we were at with this Carlson-Detman pay scale that the county uses, okay? The county decided at those times to lag the market, which really put us in a hole. And when we looked at this, one of it was, what can we do to kind of get this back up a little bit, but is it sustainable? Right here, this is sustainable, and it gets us back up a little bit. And the committee approved this. I was very happy with what this is. I think it's a good morale boost for our employees. I think it's well-deserved overall, and I think it's something that you should support. The replacement funds for the squad vehicles, which was a hot topic last year, is all built into this budget with the rescue funds, et cetera. One of the things, and we're always learning here, is we discovered as we got into it and we get smarter about our books, is we have a couple departments that have some sizable fund balances. And I'll use public health, The library has sizable fund balances. In this case, I'll use the library as an example. There's some of their fund balance we use to support their request for the circulation materials. So we took, I think it was 40,000 to kind of, instead of giving them necessary levy money, which they've already had, we said, hey, we'll meet you in the middle, cut that down, and you still have a fund balance in your organization. In terms of the public health, we took a look at, they had made a request for some new furniture. Their fund balance could pay for the new furniture, and we didn't have to give them any additional funding. So those types of things. This came up with KIP, but it has come up routinely, but a facilities assessment is really a necessity with our organization. It hasn't been done, and quite frankly, we're getting nickeled and dimed to death with a lot of our facilities. I think we've got 34 separate structures that we oversee, some large, some small, and we're going to need to get into that. And that is always a consideration as we go through, the budget process, going forward. Just a couple other things on the health insurance. So we went with Robin. Some of you have never heard of Robin. So Robin is very big in Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, and they've come into the Wisconsin market, primarily because of WEA Trust. Mark knows what I'm talking about, has gotten out of the market, so there was this gap, and they came into the market. Very comparable plan. Company's been around for decades, so we feel very good about who we're going with. Very comparable, low deductible, high deductible plan. Overall, the cost for us as a county was a $44,000 increase. If we would have gone with the other carriers we looked at, WPS would have been $950,000 increase to the county. And this, I got to tell you, as the more we get into it, and I'm going to give my hats off to Rachel and our broker, M3, they did an exceptional job of looking at a variety of carriers. We got it down to 4. The next closest one to Robin was a 9% increase. And quite honestly, we almost went with them. But when we look at our employees, we have to look at the whole zip code that we're in. We have a tremendous amount of folks that live on the west side of Shawano County. That is a very different dynamic in terms of healthcare than on the east side. So we've got to do our best to take care of all of our employees. And that was another reason why we went with Robin. That really kind of fit the niche for everything going forward on it. And I feel very comfortable with it. Rachel did a good job with this. And it's very frustrating because it's always the final thing in the budget as we're waiting for to find those numbers to make some decisions going forward. So that piece of that. Does anybody have any questions on that? Because I'm going to switch over and Carrie's going to talk about some numbers. Last thing I'm going to say is right now we're touching the wave tops of the budget process. We've sent you all the documents. I've tried to update you along the way. If there's anything specific or anything that you have questions about, please come in and see us. We are more than happy to sit down with you. I've sat down with several board members throughout the process. I think they've all been very happy with what we've informed them about, et cetera. And, I think overall all the committees did a great job. So this time I'll turn it over to Carrie.
Now's the fun part with the numbers, right? So I'll be going over a few things at a pretty high level. So like as Jim said, feel free to call, email, come on in, with detailed questions. Happy to go over more. But we'll talk about the tax levy rate for the budget, high level of the proposed expenditures and revenues and the gap there with the levy, the KIP projects, outstanding debt, and then we'll kind of transition into the resolution piece. So starting out here with just the calculation, I guess, of, how do we arrive at the levy amount? We are capped on the amount that we can levy to our municipalities. So what we do is we take the prior year levy amount, we back out the debt payments from that year. We do add in net new construction. So this year it's at 1.3%, so $208,000 that we're able to levy in addition to last year. That is a decrease from last year. So Last year, we had $240,000 in net new construction, so we're still, growing, able to, add more, but it did take a little dip from last year. Then we layer in the general obligation debt payment, so any principal and interest that we will be paying out in the next year, and that's the allowable levy per a state worksheet. We do an extra program that we offer to the townships, which is Bridge Aid. That's something that's good for the county to do and good for the townships as well. There's a little bit of chargebacks and some special charges that we layer in there to come up with your total levy dollar amount, so the $17,756. So this is a graph of the tax levy rate or the mill rate over time. So you can see in 2019, we peaked at 5.32, and we've had a slow decline over the last few years. So last year, we dipped below the $5 mark, I guess you could say, to 4.92. And in this coming year, we're going to dip down to 4.3. The reason for that, I'd say, is two different pieces. So equalized value. This year, we had a nice jump in our equalized value. It went up 14.6%, or about $500 million across the state. They did see there's a lot of jump in equalized value, so it's not like we were, an anomaly there. The other part is with our debt service. So if you remember earlier in the year, we passed a resolution to refinance some debt that we had outstanding. So it was for the jail locks. So we were able to drop from 4.25% interest down to the 1.85. So that was before interest rates took the hike where they're at now. So that's a savings of about $100,000. So the combined of the equalized value and the drop in our debt is what's going to be pulling that mill rate down. So this is very high level, but it's just the expenditures and the revenues across all funds. So you can see on the far left is the 2021 actual, so where we ended up. The next column is where we're at today with the 2022 budget. So a couple of budget adjustments or changes, but that's where we're at. So you can see a little increase from the 2021. The third section there is Q3 year to date. That's kind of a hard one, but I threw it in there. And then the far right column is going to be the 2023 proposed budget. So expenditures, we've got 66 million, and then the revenues coming in is 44 million. The difference then between those is going to be the sales tax that we received. So that's going to be about 3.8 million this year. So a nice increase from last year. I think it was 3.3. And then we have the tax levy that steps in as well. And as Jim had mentioned, we also, did a thorough review of the fund balances. So we were able to utilize some of those to help offset the increase in costs as well. Had to throw in a pie chart. So this is just the tax levy by fund. So a picture view. From accounting perspective, we have multiple funds, right? And each one of these funds has their own fund balance. So here you can see the general fund takes 55% of the levy. That's going to include your public safety and a lot of our departments. The next highest is going to be the county roads and bridges, so highway, maintaining those roads and so forth. This one just lets you know what departments get the most levy. So this is the top 5 departments. So we've got sheriff that comes in just under 7 million in levy, followed by jail at 4.2 million. And then we've got county roads and bridges, human services, and maintenance to round off the top 5. Now we'll talk a little bit about the capital improvement projects. So this was a resolution not too long ago that came to the county board where we talked about what was all in that capital improvements plan. The KIP committee again did a great job this year of really prioritizing the projects and assessing as a whole, what do we need to focus on as a county. So that number one thing was those county facility assessments. So we've got that approved to move forward. And then the other 2 projects that we have in there are for the parks, which is a good investment there because that's a nice revenue generation for the county. So the total of the capital improvement projects is $526,000. The funding sources for that is primarily from our environmental impact funds. We've had those for 10 plus years, and it's really just trying to clean up that bucket, get rid of a pot of money. Let's utilize that and put those funds to use. The remainder of the projects are supplemented by the whole chunk funding that we get each year, which is roughly $82,000. This one just talks a little bit about our legal debt margin. So per state statutes, we're able to borrow up to a maximum dollar amount. And what it does is the calculation takes 5% of your TID-in equalized value, or it comes out to $211 million. So that's the amount that, as a county, we're able to borrow up to. Obviously, we would never borrow that, amount of money, but that's what, we're allowed to. We do have a little over 15 million outstanding, which is the Human Services Facility, and then the jail locks project. So we do have ample room to borrow if we were to do that in the future. So just want to keep that on the forefront. So then the last slide that I have here is just the tax levy resolution. So it kind of brings everything together. It's like the same as the first slide that I showed you, but just the calculation and how we arrive then at the 17.7 million. So are there any questions that you guys have or anything I can help explain?
Any questions, anyone? Arlen?
Yes, I was just wondering, because the equalized valuation went way up and our new construction is practically nothing, you might say it's pretty near 0 or 1%. Is that the only reason that equalized valuation went way up, just by going and reassessing, or how does that go up so fast, or does the state come and tell you that it's that much?
Yeah, I think the townships are required to get assessments on a regular basis, right? Or the state will step in. So really, it has to do with, the market values and where we've gone. So the net new construction will add in, a component to the equalized value, so that $200,000 or so. But then, the township that's getting assessed, if they've made improvements or just the market essentially will cause that to rise.
So the townships, they pay on assessed value, and we're charging it on an equalized value, so the towns, it isn't gonna show up as good as there at the town, like the mill rates, and that'll be a little higher than that, so, because the mill rates will be the same, but the taxes will still go up on it.
It'll vary on, the timing of the assessments that are done.
Any other questions or comments?
Just one thing to add, because we get a lot of phone calls here about the reassessments. And, we tell your constituents that is on the townships. We don't get involved in the reassessments. And for those of you who are, town chairs, I know, Steve is, and, it is very important that they keep up with those reassessments. It really is, because if they don't, there's such a dramatic jump up, and we've got one township that is the case right now, and you get very unhappy constituents. So my encourage you that are on the town boards or go to those meetings routinely is to stress that you need to keep up with your reassessments, because you're not, at the end of the day, they're going to get caught and everything, so.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, then I guess we'll move along. I'd like to thank Jimmy and Carrie for all their work, and all the ladies downstairs in finance. They did a very good job, and they do a very good job now also of working with what money the county does have. We've made a lot of improvements there with the investments of staying up to date a lot more on what changes are there, and getting the maximum amount of interest that we can out of the money that we have in the county in their various funds. And with the raise, we went along with the raise at the executive committee, and the biggest reason we thought for the raise, or I did really, myself I'm speaking for, I guess, not the executive committee, is in 2020, the auditors told us we had roughly $800,000 left over at the end of the year. That's how much the general fund grew in the course of that year. In 2021, it was approximately around $1 million. Well, a 6% raise comes to about $700,000 to $800,000 in that range, is what it's going to cost the county overall for all the employees. And by them numbers right there, 2 years in a row, it should be a sustainable amount that the county can afford. We're just not going to be saving at the same rate as what we were in the past. But with the way things are changing right now, people leave left and right. our turnover ratio was up to just over 20%, 21%. If you think about it, that's 1 in every 5 jobs where there's a turnover. And it's better to invest a little money in the people you have and stop spending money on training someone. 6 months later, they're gone. Hire another person, start training them. A few months later, they're gone. This will hopefully help to stabilize that a little bit. And one more point that should be brought up is in this budget, the 6% does not apply to all employees. The jailers are only going to get approximately 1% or thereabouts because they just had a big kicker when we did the $3 an hour raise. And this will be one way of slowly blending that in to get them a little more even with everybody else. Everybody else didn't get a kick for being behind, and this will help up them a little more to what surrounding counties are paying. And the jailers will get a little less, but they already got basically what was 15% raise. So it should be fair to take just a little back from that. Randy Young.
If I remember correctly, the reason we gave that $3 kicker was to try to retain more employees. Did that work?
It helped some, but it didn't completely solve the problem. But it did get them at least back up to what our surrounding counties were paying at that same time. That $3 an hour did. And I said once before, that must have been a pretty magic number we picked because they were having a lot of trouble. The state was retaining personnel in the state prisons. And I thought it awful ironic that the governor gave everybody a $3 an hour raise, the same as what we did. He did for the state ones, which probably will offset some of ours because that might take some of our employees who will head to the state now. It's a little rosier, so.
Randy, I would just add that we routinely look for correction officers, routinely, and our other big one is we routinely look for social workers. Those 2 areas, we are constantly looking for folks.
Right, but the $3 an hour was to try to retain some of them.
Correct.
So yeah, my question was whether it worked or not.
And as Tom said, it helps stabilize. I think it's one of those fields that, you know, more and more we're having people that interested in doing that. And you know, it's a fine line. How much do you pay as you go forward? So I do think it did help some. It's not the total solution going forward, but there's some other ideas that I think we'll pursue in the upcoming year, and working with the sheriff's department on those.
When George is elected, he's going to fix everything for us.
Perfect. I knew he would. Thank you.
Sandy Stanky.
I have a question. Are the jailers not part of the union at
No.
all, or they're
No.
separate from the
Just the
police?
deputies, correct, George?
Yeah, it's just the deputies, corrections and dispatch.
Okay, that's what I was wondering if it could be
Yeah.
negotiated through your union contracts, but they're not part
No,
of that.
and that's
Okay.
why when we did the raise, the $3 an hour, we stipulated that was only for the jailers, because otherwise, if we would have done it all
would've
through the sheriff's
involved the
department, then
union.
we would have to open up the contracts again, and then they could start demanding, well, we want an $8 an hour raise.
Okay.
And we just left the whole thing alone and did just the jailers, because that's where the majority of the problem was at the time.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were part of the union or
Yeah.
not, so thank you.
Joel Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the future, instead of a across-the-board percentage increase, maybe a graduated, so the lower-paid employees, right now, 6% across the board, your higher end are getting much, much more than the lower end. And you want to talk about morale's at the lower end. So maybe in the future, if you could come up with a system that's graduated, 5, 3, 2, something like that, so your lower-end employees are getting a fairer share. Thank you.
I was always, that was one of the problems I always had, Joe, with across-the-board raise. And that is built into, I believe, if I'm saying this wrong, correct me, Rachel, that is built somewhat into Carlson-Detman, because after you get towards the top of your category, you don't get the raises every time. I believe it's every other time basically, or you get half of the step that the lower ones get. So the lower ones do accelerate faster than the top ones in that respect. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay. Oh, Jerry?
Now I am, I bet.
Yep.
Yeah, the years I think the county was trying to slow down this open checkbook policy, so to speak. I think now we're seeing results in that because of the general fund being built up and other things where now we're able to actually see what type of revenue we have saved as far as spending. And now we can somewhat predict the future on possibly where we want to go and what type of raises we'll be able to sustain in the future.
Correct, and that's why I brought that up about the 800,000 and the million, to where this appears to be, them 2 years, I would think shows a trend. It's not just 1 year where there was this big lump left over, and where did that lump come from? It was a reoccurring fact for 2 years in a row, so apparently it should be a sustainable number that we're not shooting ourselves in the foot with next year. So, any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, then I guess we go back to where we were, to item number 14. Resolution number 39-22, and it's coming up to approve the budget, so.
To
Karen?
approve application for Public Safety Answering Point, PSAP grant.
A motion to approve by Grant Stazak, seconded by Mike Stepecki. See, public safety. Tess, would you like to comment on what the PSAP grant is? Otherwise, he's in the back standing up already. Okay, he's on his way up.
Good afternoon, Bill McGlynn with the Comm Center. So the state of Wisconsin's 911 system is still built from the early 90s. Technology has not moved forward in the 911 system. The state, over the last couple of years, has made a plan to get the state onto an EZNet. It's called Next Gen 911. The state will be funding this for the next 8 years. After that, it's kind of up in there on what the legislation is going to do. What the Next Gen 911 is, it's a VoIP system for the 911 system. It's going to improve response times, location accuracy. It will do data sharing and call transfer between comm centers. Currently, our 911 center has difficulty transferring 911 calls to Langley County. They don't talk to each other. So when we actually transfer a 911 call from our county to Langley County, it goes to their admin line. So it could be ringing for quite some time before they actually answer it. With Marathon County, we're not compatible with them either. And when we transfer the call to them, it does go to their 911 line, but they don't get any of the location information, callback number, nothing is transferred because that part of the state is Frontier and us and South is AT&T. So those two networks don't communicate. With this, I believe there's 26 counties that have signed to move forward with this. Marathon is one of them, I know for sure. It sounds like they'll be going live before us. It will also bring into the comm center video and texting that we can receive from callers, which will just help for us to know what's going on, and there's software out there that we can actually pass those videos on to the actual responders that are going to the scene so they can scene size up before they actually get there. With the resolution, it is an 80% state match and a 20% local match for this grant. The total funding for the project would be just over $45,000. The state would reimburse us just over $36,000. Our total share match would be just over $9,000. With that, we currently pay roughly $890 a month for our AT&T 911 service currently. If we go to this network, that fee goes away. So with our 20% share of just over $9,000, we would have cost savings in our phone expenses that are already in the budget for next year of $9,042, which will cover our 20% match already. So it's kind of a wash situation here. If we were to go to this system in the next 9 years, we would save roughly $88,000 because the state will be paying that cost instead of us for the 911 system. So we're just looking to have this approved through you guys and move forward with the process. AT&T has been working with me for months already, building the network, even though we didn't sign contracts with them yet. And they look at if this is all approved and we get the actual grant application, we would go live March 13th.
Kevin Conrad.
I guess one question, when you say the state's funding it or whatever, is that the funds that the people pay in on their phone bills to the 911?
I can't say for sure where they're getting that money from, but they are looking at those fees as well because currently, or in the past, those fees have gone to just a general fund and they have never come back to a 911 comm center.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, then if you are in favor of resolution number 39-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no with 1 absent, so the resolution has passed. Resolution number 40-22. Tara?
To authorize the application to the State of Wisconsin Department of Justice for law enforcement assistant to the Ho-Chunk Nation.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Bill Spatala, seconded by Jerry Erdman. For the new members, this resolution and the next one are standard ones that have to be done every year, that the tribes get funding through us from the state, and we have to approve like the applications basically is what it is. So it's just a standard annual item that's done every year. Is, Tess, do you want to say any more, or? No. Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, if you are in favor of resolution number 40-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no with 1 absent, so the resolution is passed. Item number 16, resolution number 41-22. Kara?
To authorize the application to the State Department of Justice for law enforcement aids for the Stockbridge-Muncie Reservation.
And this is basically the same as the last one. We need a motion to approve, I should say. Motion by Kathy, seconded by Dennis Knack. Is there any questions or comments? Joe Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For many, many years, for those who may not be familiar with it, Shawano County, Stockbridge Muncie Tribe have had a joint cooperative law enforcement agreement. These funds here, and that agreement is part of the application for these funds. Lately, though, the state has been diminishing those funds significantly. We're getting less and less every year. As the chairman stated, they're pass-through funds. They come to the county takes a little bit out of it there for whatever spillment costs, so on and so forth, and then the rest is transferred to the tribe. FY23, fiscal year 2023, the tribe's public safety budget, for the record, I hope I'm accurate here, but it's like $1.4 million. That's a tribe's public safety budget. A vast majority of that money goes to assist the county in police, fire, and EMS. We're assisting. So it needs to be made clear, so everybody knows the gravity of the amount of money Stockbridge-Muncie is sticking into the county. So with that in mind, thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, then if you are in favor of resolution 41-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no with 1 absent, so the resolution is passed. Item number 17, resolution number 42-22. Kara?
To approve entering into memorandum of understanding, a MOU, with the Department of Administration regarding use of ARPA funds for the Law Enforcement Agency grant.
Motion to approve. Motion by Kevin Conrad, seconded by Terry Tipton. Going brain dead for a minute, Terry, sorry. Tess, you probably don't want to speak to this one either, huh? Is anyone from the Sheriff's Department who would like to make a comment on it? They're probably all going to vote yes anyway, but you might as well give them a little idea what they're voting on.
These are ARPA funds, and they're strictly for law enforcement agencies. It's $73,000, and it's to reimburse for specific reasons. It's medical testing for officers, for recruitment, training, wellness programs, officer equipment, fuel, things like that. So we just have to submit our costs and then get reimbursement for it.
And these are separate ARPA funds, not the counties, the ones that we were awarded. These are separate from that, correct? Okay. Is there any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, then if you are in favor of resolution number 42-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. Okay, 25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent. The resolution is passed. Okay, the budget. Number 18, resolution number 43-22. Kara?
To approve the tax levy for 2022 collected in 2023.
Is there a motion to approve? A motion by Jerry Erdman. We'll go across the other corner, seconded by Steve Geetz. Is there any questions or comments or more discussion on it? Okay. Oh, Sandy Stanky.
I just had one question, and I saw Christie was here from the library. When I looked at their budget, the revenues went from like $800,000 down to $20,000. Can you explain that large change?
I cannot. Could you answer that, Christie?
I think that might be on the page that you're looking at excludes the amount of tax levy in there. So when you add in the tax levy, that brings it comparable to, do you know what page you might have been looking at? I think it has to do with the amount of tax
I'm on
levy
page
that's given.
46. It was on page 7 and page 46. It does come to net cost of $851,000, but the discrepancy was in the revenues.
Yeah, because I do not have the property tax revenue in that line. So when it comes down to the bottom and it foots, that's the amount of levy that will be given. So the difference is the amount of tax levy that's given to the library.
Okay. Thank you.
It's a strange presentation, I agree.
Yeah, it just was different from the rest of the departments. That's why I was like, okay, how come it's missing in this?
Yeah, so you'll see
particular
on specific departments, it'll kind of on the bottom, it'll fall out in the net cost income, and that'll be the amount of
Okay,
tax levy
yeah,
there
just
to
went
have
under
it be a
income
zero.
instead of revenue, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, then if you are in favor of approving basically the budget, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent. So the budget has been approved. Item number 19, resolution number 44-22.
To approve the procurement of a health insurance plan for Shawano County for 2023.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Randy Young, seconded by Terry Tipton. And health insurance. Is there, would you like to speak on it, Jimmy, or?
No, I think we've covered it, and I think we've got a good product for our employees, going forward.
Okay. Ken?
Just one question, Jim. You had mentioned about 38 employees that do their doctoring at Prevail. What's the answer there for those people?
So first thing is if anybody's in current treatment, say they're in a current treatment plan for, say, cancer, okay? We work with Robin and they get to continue the treatment with their current provider, okay? That happens. For the other ones that are just see the doctor routinely, they'll have to find a new provider in the network going forward. You know, as we've gotten into the insurance, and we mentioned kind of earlier in the year when we had a tremendous amount switch from the lower to the higher deductible, et cetera. We've got a lot of employees that haven't gone to the doctor in 5 years. And then we've got some that routinely go. We're big in telehealth. We have a lot of employees that use telehealth, you know, and that has a huge cost savings to the county. And we push that dramatically. And then on the 16th of November, we're actually having a benefit fair over at DHS for our employees. And the reason we do that is we want to make sure that they understand what they're getting into, what they're signing. And what we've discovered is that our employees, I'm probably just as guilty, don't really read what the heck the insurance is. And we actually, last year, we actually had a lot of appointments that came into HR to discuss the health insurance about switching. A lot of them brought their spouses, and we encouraged that because this is what happens in Jimmy Davil's house. I get home and my wife says, "Did you ask him this? Did you ask him that? Did you ask him this?" And I said, "I wish you would have been there. I didn't ask any of those things." So we encourage that and everything. So we're really trying to get everybody set up for success. And as I mentioned, Ken, nobody wanted to switch plans. We were with WPS for 2 years. We did not want to switch, but unfortunately we had to.
Thank you.
Okay. Mike Stepecki.
Along the same line, I got a phone call from one of those spouses of the 36 employees, and was it addressed with Robin looking if they could bring Pavea on board?
Purvey is a unique provider, Mike. They actually have their own insurance type deal, and so Purvey is very difficult with insurance companies, and that's really Purvey's decision, not necessarily the insurance company wanting them as a provider.
Okay.
Okay. Sandy Stanky.
And in regards to Prevea, if they go out of network, they can still keep their doctor. They're just that their out of network benefits, their deductibles go up, and then there's a co-insurance that they would end up paying that's a little bit higher than going in network. So if they choose.
Rachel's shaking her head,
Yeah, I
yes.
think that's correct. I would just have to go back and look at the plan, but yeah, I think that's correct.
Right here.
So, you,
Right. You pay a. They just have a higher deductible and a higher co-insurance, so they can
Okay.
still stick with their own doctor if they wish to.
Okay. Jim Chabilsky.
Does Robin have a wellness program? Yep. I was just wondering because you said they didn't go in for 5 years. I thought usually to go in a year to get a routine checkup, physical. Oh, there you go. Thank you.
That 5 years is just going to be younger employees that they just don't go to the doctor.
yeah, we don't dissuade anybody to see a provider, but if you're like, I don't typically go to the doctor, I usually, well, whatever, I'll suck it up, so, yeah. Matt Hippis attends the doctor routinely, trust me. Steve Geets is usually chewing him out on the town board, so he goes, but, yeah.
You don't go because they can't fix that. Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none then, If you are in favor of resolution number 44-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no, with one absent, so the resolution is passed. Item number 20, ordinance number 9-22. Kara?
Adopting the Town of Belle Plaine Comprehensive Plan Amendments.
Motion to approve. Motion by Mike Stepecki, seconded by Jeremy way in the back. Any questions or comments? Do you guys, should we have a little presentation on it, or? Nobody looks too worried about it. Okay. You will see a little later, I have an item on there where I was attempting to change and start a consent agenda, but our new legal bee kind of just beat me up here last week, and we gotta work something out and see, because she's got a difference of opinion of just what you can put on the consent agenda, and we'll work on that, and I'll see if I can't twist her arm and get a little more of this stuff on there. But anyway. She'll probably win, Joey, up. So, any questions or comments? Okay, see, Jerry?
Yeah, just one quick comment. Most of the,
Hold it. Kara was ready to vote already.
Yeah, he got in there before I did.
Can't back out, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there you go, Jerry.
okay, most of these comprehensive plans, towns have to periodically do them. So it's just a formality coming here in front of the county board and approving it.
Yeah. She'll probably win, but I want to discuss the fine language of what she showed me saying that we can't do it. And that's where I'll probably lose real fast. So, seeing no other comments, if you are in favor of ordinance number 9-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. And these have all been 25 yes, 0 no, so the ordinance is passed. These have all been run through, the towns have all approved them, and a lot of this basically is just a rubber stamp that we have to give it. Item number 20, item number 21, ordinance number 10-22. Kara?
Adopting the Town of Wittenberg Comprehensive Plan Amendments.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Sandy Stanky, seconded by Dennis Knack. Is there any discussion or questions or comments on this one? Ken Capelli.
Tom, I just want to say pretty much what you just said. The next four resolutions are all requested by the individual towns. It's nothing that the county is changing. It's just a request of what the town wants in their comprehensive plan. So we have to approve it by state statute.
The key word is routine. It's got to be a routine item. Okay, I'll leave her alone. If you are in favor then of ordinance number 10-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no, with one absent. I can't pick on her, she's only doing her job. Item number 22, ordinance number 11-22.
Adopting the Town of Germania Comprehensive Plan Amendments.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Ken Capelli, seconded by Teresa Serrano. Any questions or comments on this one? Ken? Yes, no? Oh, sorry. The color came up for the motion, and I thought that was a request to speak. My mistake. Okay, seeing no questions or comments, then if you are in favor of ordinance number 11-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no, with one absent, so the ordinance is passed. Item number 23, resolution number 45-22.
Approve amendments to the Town of Wittenberg official zoning map.
And for the new people, since we just changed, now we approved their comprehensive plan, we also got to separately approve the map. Why, I don't know, but that's the way it is. Motion to approve by Tess, seconded by Randy Young. Any questions or comments on this one? Kathy?
We only have to do these every 10 years, so hopefully we're almost through all the towns.
Unless they want to do it sooner. Okay. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, then if you are in favor of resolution number 45-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent. So the resolution has passed. Item number 24, resolution number 46-22.
To approve zone change to the official zoning map for the town of Westcott.
Is there a motion to approve, Mike? Motion by, well, he's from the town of Westcott. Motion by Mike, seconded by Kathy Lubke. Is there any questions or comments on this one? Okay, seeing none, then all those in favor, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent, so the resolution is passed. Resolution number 47-22, Kara?
To approve zone change for Kent L. and Felicia F. Kirsten, it will be the Z-6-22.
Okay, motion to approve. Motion by Jeremy Gretzinger, seconded by Arlen. Is there any questions or comments on this? I believe this is all passed by PD&Z and passed by the towns. They're all good to go? Okay. See no other questions or comments, then if you are in favor of resolution number 47-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. I bet you it's going to be 25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent. Yep, 25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent. Resolution is passed. Resolution number 48-22, Kara?
To approve a zone change for Kent L. and Felicia F. Kirsten, this will be Z-7-22.
Motion to approve. Motion by Kevin Conrad, seconded by Devin Crejon. Any questions or comments on this one? Okay, seeing none. If you are in favor then of resolution 48-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent, so that resolution is passed. Okay. And here's where I put this in there. I added number 27 to where in the board rules, if the board passes it by a 2/3 majority vote, we can temporarily suspend rule number 4. And rule number 4, for you, those of you that didn't look, is basically it goes right through and says, this is item number 1 of the agenda, this is item number 2, this has to be 3, and it lays out how the agenda is put together. And I was asking the board to vote today to give me the right to temporarily suspend rule number 4, so I can try and see if we can redo some of this and start working in the consent agenda all the time to lump some of these things together that 99.99999% of the time go through. So with that, would there be a motion to suspend rule number 4? Motion by Kimberly Leffel, seconded by Grant Stazak. Is there any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, if you are in favor then of suspending rule number 4 temporarily, you would vote yes, and if not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent. Okay, then we will move on to item 28, and this is the consent agenda we would have for this month. And the way it would work is each one of these items, like 28.1, approval of the minutes from the September meeting, 28.2, what we normally did for annual reports, 28.3, acceptance of the committee minutes, and 28.4, special orders or appointments. the way this would work each time is when we get to this point in the meeting, I would have to ask if there's any supervisors here that would want one of these specific items taken out of the consent agenda, and then that would be automatically moved to item number 29 this time, where it's discussion on actions, discussion/action on items removed from the consent agenda. Otherwise, if nobody requests to take anything out, we just vote once and all them items are passed and done. So is there anything anyone would wish to have removed from the consent agenda and discussed separately? Oh, yes, sir.
Consent agenda, if we want to discuss it, now would be the time to discuss an item on there without removing it,
Nope, we got to remove it
to discuss it.
and discuss it separately.
Okay.
This is all supposed to be items that the chairman puts in there that he thinks are going to be just standard items that are going to be passed unanimously without any discussion. If there's a board member who would want to have discussion on one of the items, then we have to remove it and it gets placed down on the bottom there and it gets discussed then as a separate item.
Okay, I have a question about the library planning committee.
Okay, if you want to take out them appointments, we can take them out and we can do them separately.
I just have a question about the committee, so
Since
not about
it's
the
on a
appointments.
consent agenda, the library planning committee is being put together. I should have maybe noticed this for everybody. It's not really a matter of discussion. One has to be appointed because every so many years you have to redo the library. I believe it's the plan of action. And that time is up since we set up the library the first time. Now we have to reapprove I think it's the plan of action. And I took ones that were on the original library planning committee. It's a matter of a meeting or two, and then we'll stamp a new library plan, and it's done, that's it.
I was curious how that was different than the library committee, or the actual library board.
That's the purpose of it, yep.
Okay.
So, but if you don't want any of that changed, we don't really have to take it out and discuss it.
No, that was my question, how
That's
this
its
committee
reason
was
for being
different
there.
than the library board.
And I'll have to learn to do better next time to explain each item to everybody, and then that way we're not discussing it.
Thank you.
Mart, Grams.
Yeah, we use the same thing on the school board, but what we got to have here is, like, for example, Matt's report. That should be hyperlinked, so we could read it ahead of time and everybody just votes yes.
That is right down below.
Well, I didn't see that down there. I can't, TS, I assume that's what it is, okay.
Yep, register and probate and TS annual report.
But that way, no one should have any discussion, or even the questions you can't ask. It's just a matter of yes, no.
Yep, and that's why like I said, I'll have to get better at, if something like this, to make sure that I explain why it's there.
It really speeds up a meeting, especially like most of the things we did with the maps and the
Yep.
town boards and all that. That
I was thinking about, we could just have one consent agenda, see, and we'd be out of here in about 30 seconds.
We could do that on the way up the stairs.
I don't think I'm gonna get her to bend, I ain't gonna get her to bend that far, though. Today, yeah. So with that, if there's no other questions or comments, we need a motion then to approve the consent agenda. Motion by Mart Grams, seconded by Steve Geetz. Since there were none to
No, were you doing number 4 yet, to suspend rule number 4? No?
No, we did number 4 already.
Oh, I'm sorry, we are on consent.
Yep, we are on the consent agenda.
Okay.
Ooh, I was right once. Okay, then if you are in favor of all the items on the consent agenda, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent. So the consent agenda has passed. Item number 29, discussion on actions, discussion/action on items removed from the consent agenda. There were none, so there's nothing to discuss under 29. Item number 30, report by the Executive Committee on General Accounts and Claims. Kara?
The September general accounts to be paid are $272,299.12.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Bill Spatala, seconded by Kevin Conrad. Any questions or comments on paying the bills? Seeing none, then if you are all in favor of paying the bills, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. $25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent. Item number 31, board member comments or new business to be considered at a future meeting. Anybody got something, Grant?
I guess just a question, if you're willing to share with us what your thoughts are on filling the supervisory seat that's vacant?
Jerry's been looking because he's right from that area. He can't find anybody that's interested. And the people down there deserve representation. I don't know many people from that area. I guess I could start calling the town chairman and the clerks and see if we could find somebody. Jerry wishes to comment.
Yeah, I've talked to several individuals. There was one individual that was interested, but trust me, you don't want them here on this board. I mean,
This is a televised meeting.
no, it isn't televised, but his language and other stuff is beyond what we want. But I have talked to several people on it. It's just that the ones that you were on the actual town board said, why would I want to get on the county board? I got enough headaches on the town board. So yeah, it's getting harder to get somebody to run for these positions.
All somebody has to do is be willing to take it. They don't even have to run. And nobody steps forward for that. Joe Miller.
Jerry, that's what half you guys said about me 5 years ago.
Okay, any other comments or items that somebody would like to see on the agenda?
Tom, can I just give one quick update?
Sure,
Because
go ahead,
this
Jimmy.
impacts our community, especially around the lake and the city. Triple H Bridge. So we're looking probably mid-November for the bridge to be open. There was a little bit of delay, really, for asbestos and soils and things like that, but we're looking mid-November.
Okay. The asbestos he's referring to is that years ago they made, it was like half concrete and asbestos pipe. And that's what they had to replace, and the whole world has to come to an end then when you run into that. Item number 32, claim report of county board. Kara?
For today, it's $2,305.63.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Kathy Lubke, seconded by Dick Olson. If there's no questions or comments, I see none, then if you are in favor of getting paid, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. Must be missing one yet. Sandy? You don't want to get paid, Kevin? Well, we'll keep your money anyway.
I can vote for you. Would you like yes or no?
Oh, he's coming. Oh, there it came through now. Okay. 25 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent. So we will get paid. Next meeting date, November 16th, 2022. Remember, it's a little early, everybody. And that is because of Thanksgiving and the holidays starting. With that, we're up to item number 34, the last and final, a motion to adjourn. Motion by Tess, seconded by Kimberly. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Went faster than I thought.